I don't have a personality.
It's gonna burn on the food.
He's put in his face where cat pooped. He was like, that's the stupidest thing. Presumed death. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to 10 Questions with Father Tim. I'm Father Tim. Update on our podcast. I told you that we would only do it if we raised $3,500. We're at $50. So
$50.
Yeah, we may not be doing a podcast.
That's okay.
Anyway, This is our second to last regular season episode. We have a special, should I say, spicy finale coming up with a guest star. I can't say what it is because that might be copyright infringement. This is the guest star here. You don't know who it is. Anyway, I hear we've got some exciting questions this week. Nicole, is that right?
That's right. But yeah, if we would like some spicy questions for Father Tim and our special guest to answer for our spicy edition of our season finale. So submit them through the comment section or DM them to any of our social media pages. And again, if you want to help contribute towards our podcast, you can do so by using the link in the About section below. Just make sure that you write for the podcast in the memo when you're donating. Second to last regular episode. Question number 1. Does being a priest automatically come with a great connection to God? Do you have to work on that, or given your vocation, is it effortless?
It's not effortless. Does being married automatically come with a great connection to your spouse, or do you have to work on it?
It does. No.
It does? I don't know that your husband would agree with that. No, we're people, right? We're all human, and God reveals himself to us, and we all respond to him as we do. And yes, there's a connection through ordination, through the bishop's imposition of hands and the prayer of consecration of the Holy Spirit that transforms a man, and there's an ontological change and all that language. But it doesn't just mean that we're the same and we're automatically made holy. We still have to work to sanctify ourselves, just as anybody does. We had this nun in the seminary. Her name was Sister Elizabeth. We called her Sister Betsy. She used to tell us, gentlemen, if you're I'll clean this up because this is a family-friendly show, but she'll say, gentlemen, if you are a dirt bag before you're ordained, you will be a dirt bag after you're ordained. You will just have the grace of priestly orders on top of that.
That's interesting. I think there's a common misconception among lay people that priests are they're holy, and that's why they become priests.
Yeah, and people put us on like a pedestal, and it's weird because we don't belong on a pedestal, and we're just regular, average guys that have, the same struggles and temptations and brokenness and sinfulness as anybody else. So we work to sanctify ourselves by being priests, just as married couples work to sanctify one another through their marriage.
Have there been times that you have been upset or even angry with God?
Yeah, that's normal, I think, to be upset or angry with God or to question something like, God, why did you let this happen, right? Why did you let my friend die? Why is there suffering? Why is there hurt? Why is there brokenness? I mean, that's the whole question of Christianity is why do good things happen, or why do bad things happen to good people, right? Why does evil exist? It exists because we chose it. We rejected God in the fall, and now we have to reap the consequences of it. So, yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing to get angry or upset with God about something, but it's what you do with that, right? Just like if you get angry or upset with me because of something I did or said, or you get angry or upset with your spouse or a friend because of something, be angry, but work through the anger to some sort of resolution. So the anger shouldn't be, God, I'm angry at you, therefore you must not exist. Okay, well then how can you be angry at him if he doesn't exist? But rather, God, I'm angry at you because I expected better, or because I wanted it the way that I think it's supposed to happen. I wanted my will to be done and not yours. So yeah, there's times in our lives where maybe we're angry or upset with God, and that's perfectly fine as long as we work through it.
Have you been angry?
Have I been angry at God?
Can you think of an example of you or that you can share?
I mean, I don't know. I can't think of any concrete examples of when I've been mad at God, because part of growing in holiness and growing in that relationship with God also is to not necessarily get angry with Him. More often I get angry with myself because I know that I'm pushing against God's will.
Mm.
I know that I'm not doing what he wants me to do, and I know better. So I'm being disobedient. More so I get angry with myself. Not angry necessarily, but just I'm critical. I'm critical of myself and my own actions or misactions, and to blame it on God would just be kind of petulant. I think there's a maturation that comes in our faith. So that, being angry at God or being upset with God is something that happens at an earlier stage in our faith. Maybe we go back to it at some point because it can be cyclical, but it's kind of a less mature stage of our relationship with God, just as it is with any relationship.
Who would you like to meet from the Bible?
Who would I like to meet from the Bible? I don't know. All those Old Testament guys, they were probably really smelly. Like, to meet Moses, travel. Can you imagine going through the desert for 40 years without taking a shower?
I'm sure he showered.
They don't have water in the desert.
What do you think an oasis is?
Those don't exist. Those are optical illusions. Obviously, Jesus would be
I was going to say, if you don't
the number
see
one
Jesus,
answer of, who would you like to meet? Gosh, don't we all hope for that? That's like the culmination of the Christian life, right? Obviously, that's the answer, but who else, one of the disciples or the apostles or Mary, Mary would be cool to meet, right? Because she'd probably just be like, oh, I love you. You're so, just keep trying to do the will of my son and keep trying to love my son. But I love you and I support you and I encourage you. I'd also like to meet St. Peter because he was so hard-headed and stubborn. And I want to know if he was more hard-headed and stubborn than I am. And if he can do it, then anyone can.
You and St. Paul would be an interesting mix.
Yeah, St. Paul would be neat.
What should one do with old missals, books, or church-related items that are out of date or not used anymore, but are blessed?
So blessed items or things that, such as the Word of God, palms, broken rosaries, Bibles that are in a state of, deterioration that you can't really use it anymore. They should be disposed of in a respectful way. So either buried or burnt in an appropriate way. I was reflecting on this the other day, actually. Father Michael had a funeral, and it was a veteran. And I see, the military honors all the time at funerals and gravesides. But the way that we treat the flag as Americans, well, at least the way that we used to treat the flag as Americans, not the way they treat it on college campuses, but the way that we treat the flag as proud, patriotic Americans, we treat it like it's something sacred. If we treat the flag with such dignity, right, that even if it touches the ground, it's considered no longer good, and so we have to respectfully retire it. So too with holy things, with blessed things. We just as we do the flag, we either burn it in an appropriate way, not in a mocking or condescending way, or we bury it. If you have an old used religious item that no longer works, just people bring them by the office all the time. We either burn it in the Easter fire or do one of the 3 B's: break something, bury something, or burn something. So it can't be repurposed in for another thing or misused. After the Guadalupe statue broke from the high winds, we took her and we buried her somewhere on the property. So that's an appropriate way to dispose of a broken religious item.
What are your cat's favorite toys?
My cat's favorite toys are Father Michael's pillows. They like to shred them up. They like to treat them like they're their litter box.
Like his bed pillows?
Oh yeah, his bed pillows, the ones that he puts his head. I clean it up though before he goes to bed, so he doesn't know about it. But he's putting his face where cat pooped. They're kind of lazy. They used to be fat. They're skinny now. Tony was never fat. Tony's always been lean, and so they've got a little string thing that they like to play with. Tony's got these little stuffed mice. I'll throw them, and she'll bring them back to me, and just keep throwing them. Or there's like a little ball with a bell, and it's funny. He picks it up with his teeth, and he's like a little mongoose with a snake egg in his mouth, and it's funny looking. So
this one's complicated.
Okay, I'm complicated.
I hope you're ready.
I'm ready.
If a married person's heart stops and is technically dead,
I saw this one on
then
YouTube.
Resuscitated, does the marriage end?
So we've got to define the terms here. There's mostly dead and there's all dead, right? We know that from Miracle
Bride.
Max and the Princess Bride. And if someone's heart stops and they declare you dead, like my neighbor across the street growing up that I told you all about one Sunday, is he really dead? like, is he all dead? Then they shock him and he comes back to life, or like something miraculous happens. Was he ever really dead? I think that's the important question. So we could declare somebody legally dead if he's not, like, if he comes back, he's not dead, because who can raise from the dead except for Jesus, right? So I would say no. In seminary, though, we had in our confession practicum, it was taught by this retired 2-star Rear Admiral Navy chaplain. He was a Franciscan. He had a lot of power. He was the chief of chaplains for the whole military. For whatever reason, they thought that guy with zero actual pastoral experience should teach priests who are about to go into parishes how to hear confessions. So he came up with some of the wildest scenarios. One of them was a couple was out hiking, and the guy fell off a cliff, and they did a search, and after a year they declared the search done, and they couldn't find him, and so she got remarried, and then he came out of the woods. And he's like, hey, I'm so-and-so. And they did DNA tests. And they're like, yeah, you are so-and-so. She was already married to somebody else, right? Started a new family. And so we, of course, had to answer this in the context of the confessional. And I said, hey, this is really a heavy situation. I'm not going to be able to answer it for you right now because I've got to start Mass in a few minutes. So this is a conversation that I need you to come to me in my office outside of confessional. Tell me these details, not under the seal of confession, but just to me, because we're going to have to get some canon lawyers involved, and I'm going to have to get people that are way smarter than me. And the priest that was teaching the practicum, he said that's not a sufficient answer. The person needed to be absolved. And we told our canon lawyer about it, and he was like, that's the stupidest thing. Presumed death. He said in, 40 years of canon law, I've dealt with a presumed death case once. So to answer the question of the married couple and the guy's declared dead, he's only mostly dead. He's not all dead. Marriage is until death do us part. And while legally only doctors get to declare someone dead, only God is actually the one that gets to say that we're dead.
What is your view on Gregorian Chant?
Gregorian Chant is beautiful. It's the most preferred mode of music for the church. It's right there in Sacrosanctum Concilium, Second Vatican Council. My mother just gave me a beautiful gift of Gregorian Chant wind chimes. Yes, I love it.
Why does God make some people's lives harder than others?
Oh, that's related to that earlier question of, is it okay to get angry at God, and why do bad things happen to good people? It's just kind of another way of phrasing that same question. Yeah, some people have a heavier cross than others, but some people suffer in ways that we don't know. Like, you might see that person that they've got this great life, they've got this, big house, and it's got a pool, and they've got a manicured lawn, and whatever our distorted view of perfection of the American dream is, they've got that, but inside there's suffering, right? There's broken relationships. There's working too hard to try to get something that you don't really need, to have that American dream, and so your family suffers for it. Yeah, a lot of people bring about suffering on their own by failing to trust in God more. But then also people that trust in God greatly, they suffer too. Like Mother Teresa, she had decades long dark night of the soul where she didn't hear God's voice. She knew he was there. She just couldn't hear him, and she couldn't understand why, because she was doing his will, and she was living as his hands and feet. Yeah, everybody has a different journey, and some of us suffer more or less, and some of us suffer better than others. Some of us aren't good at suffering. So
everyone's path to sanctity is different. Is politics a worthwhile endeavor for a young Catholic?
Oh, is politics a worthwhile endeavor? So Michael Knowles actually answered a similar question to this recently. I mean, we're part of the polis, right? We're part of the community, the body, the society, whether it's the county, the city, the state, the nation. So we have to be involved in politics to some point because we are a political creature. But should you run for office as a young Catholic? I would strongly say no, because you're going to get, your soul's going to get corrupted, and you're going to politics is such a messy game. So yes, we should have a political life. We should have political interests. We should know, who our representatives are and who our legislators and judges are. No candidate, especially right now for president, no candidate is like perfectly aligned with Catholic teachings, but one is definitely more aligned with Catholic teachings. Abortion is never acceptable. As a Catholic, we can never accept that. Attack on gender and family, redefining gender and family, they're just unacceptable. Like the end, right there. Catholic can't in good conscience vote for something like that.
There's something very negative and consuming about politics.
Yeah, it is. It's true.
So
and it's unfortunate because the way that our founding fathers put the country together, it was supposed to kind of be protected from becoming this big huge bureaucracy. And now it's this big huge bureaucracy, and we look at vote, and it's this binary decision of like, well, I got to pick this one or that one. And it's like, well, I'll hold my nose and I'm going to pick this one because it's the lesser of two evils, which is unfortunate. That's how we have to vote. In the end, we're not citizens here on earth. We're citizens in heaven, right? So the Jews at the time of Jesus were waiting for the Messiah to come and kick the Romans out so they could have their Jerusalem back. That's not what Jesus did, is it? He came and he died for our sins and he suffered, and he said, you have to suffer too, right, in the world. So that's how you gain citizenship in heaven, is you're baptized, you're united to Christ, and you join him in his suffering and death, and then hopefully his resurrection.
Final question.
Okay, here we go.
For episode 7. Kind of politicky.
Ooh, fun.
Do you have thoughts on the AP article that's been all over the internet regarding the recent Catholic thing going on?
So, there's the Harrison Butker commencement speech at Benedictine College in Kansas, which is a very faithful Catholic college. A lot of young people there that are striving to live according to the will of God, which of course makes people mad because the world doesn't want us to live according to the will of God. The world wants us to live according to the will of the world, which is always changing. So I haven't actually seen this commencement speech yet. I've been too busy watching the Pints with Aquinas interview Matt Fradd and Dr. Jordan Peterson. I saw the Jerry Seinfeld commencement speech that he gave at Duke. That was really, really good if you haven't seen that. Anyway, I haven't listened to the Harrison Butker one yet. I've heard clips of it. I've seen things about it. Again, obviously, I'm not going to make any comment on the speech until I've seen it. The clips that I've heard of it, there's some good stuff in there. Obviously, Harrison Butker doesn't speak on behalf of the Catholic Church, so that's important to remember. But the question specifically was, what are my thoughts on the AP article? I haven't read the AP article. I pulled it up here just after the question was asked. Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker railed against Pride Month, working women, President Biden's leadership during COVID-19 pandemic, and abortion during a commencement address at Benedictine College last week. Okay, so that sounds like he's giving a speech to kids at Benedictine. He's speaking kind of like right to them. Best venue? I don't know. Again, I haven't seen it. But what I will say is that the AP is definitely going to give a very skewed version of what he actually said. The AP, a couple weeks ago, I think I talked about it at Daily Mass Homily. They had an article about how young Catholics are wanting to return to tradition, which I think I spoke about that. But they went to Benedictine and they interviewed a lot of people, and young women that were graduating said, I just want to be a housewife. I want to be a homemaker. And, it's okay. That's great. Kind of used to be the norm. It's not now. Societal changes happen. Pride Month. Pride is, a deadly sin. June is the month of the Sacred Heart. I don't want to go on a rant about what's wrong with celebrating Pride Month.
Not in this video.
Yeah, maybe for the podcast. If we can get more than $50, then maybe we can do a podcast on that. Abortion is obviously bad, right? We've already covered that. If you want to know what he actually said, I would encourage you to go watch the video, like I'm going to do, and then not necessarily kind of get your, insights on it from what's going to be a very skewed kind of attack in a publication that is known for not really being balanced. But again, he doesn't speak for the church. So in the end, it wasn't at your commencement speech. He was speaking to kids that they wanted to hear what he had to say. They respect him. It's in Kansas, Atchison, Kansas. But they see this prominent figure, and is he living a life of debauchery and immorality, and is he? But no, he's speaking passionately about what he believes to fellow believers, and I think that's a problem that we have in our society, is that we don't allow any space for that. We don't allow space for dialogue. The things to remember: Harrison Butker doesn't speak on behalf of the Catholic Church. Watch what he actually said in his speech, rather than reading about what he might have said or how it was said in a skewed third-party report. And in the end, if you disagree with it, disagree and move on. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
Once I've watched the interview, maybe I'll give a little bit more of my thoughts.
We're going to drop the link to the interview down below as well. So
but I'm not going to read the AP article because I've got better things to do with my time, like prepare for my Pentecost homily. So we have one more regular episode with moi, and then the following week we have a special guest that sleeps on pillows that have been pooped on by cats. We're going to be answering some extra spicy questions while possibly consuming some sort of food.
Yep, that's all you're allowed to say
Yeah.
right now. That's all you're allowed to say. But it's going to be great. You're going to not want to miss it. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. Drop any questions in our comments box or by DMing them to our social media pages. Or just come up to Father Tim and ask him a question, and he'll save it for one of our episodes.
One person asked me a question the other day. Are all my stories true?
Are they?
I've already answered 10 questions. So I can answer that one today.
I'll have to say that one for next time. All right, thanks for joining us.
We'll see y'all. See you on Sunday, and then see you.
Happy Pentecost.
Yeah, it's Pentecost. It's great.
Yeah, go get filled with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
All right, we'll catch you next week.